Howdy peeps, hope you're doing well. So the last video was just a little reading that I felt like doing. I was just like, I know it's ironic because it's hypocritical, right? I get it. Whereas I wasn't going to do tarot readings initially, but then I thought, you know what, fuck it. Do what I want. It's my channel. It is what it is. I got my other deck actually. I got my Spirit Animal Oracle card deck. It wasn't quite what I expected, I got to say. Did buy it on a whim. I'm not disappointed though. I know my tone probably might indicate otherwise, but I'm not actually disappointed. In fact, give me a second. So, I suppose because there's a lot about me that some people that I know in real life that watch the channel don't know about me. And look, I'll be honest, if I'm to sit here now and start going through everything that I suppose I've gone through spiritually in the last 20 years, well, I'd probably come across as a lunatic if I'm honest. Because you see, the thing is, when you start talking about this shit, right, and it's what, when people start talking about Harry Potter, and I mean Harry Potter, right, I don't mean anything else. One of the things that kind of has me in two minds about it is it's how close it is to the truth, the whole series. I don't mean like the characters or the storyline. I'm talking about the stuff that goes on in the background, and obviously you don't really get wands that zap things and shit like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. But it does work. And whereas I appreciate that J.K. Rowling wanted to make a little something out of, I don't know, maybe it was just like a fantasy in her head, I suppose, maybe, of doing something like that and becoming the person that she's known to be now, what she's known for. And I suppose in kind of one aspect, it does open up a few doors to people to learning more about spirituality, magic, Wicca, paganism, the darker arts of, say, Aleister Crowley. Yeah, I've done a bit of reading in my time. Well, you could say that. And, it's... in a way, I kind of feel it's a bit irresponsible of J.K. Rowling to introduce it to mainstream like that. And sure, look, the average person probably isn't going to bat an eyelid. They're not that into spirituality. They're just there to sit down, stuff their face full of popcorn and watch a film. That's it. But to anyone that's got a curious mind, it could lead them further down that path. And look, sometimes it can be for the best and sometimes it can't. It depends on the individual, the circumstance. You get people out there with malicious intent that they want to do shit to hurt people just because they can. They get a kick out of it. Like I was saying about psychic mediums and stuff like that, whereas they can pick up someone might be a bit vulnerable and they might say something that will alter their life, potentially in a negative way. I mean, look, that what I was saying about, like, with my mate when he went to see a psychic medium with his, at the time, girlfriend, and that psychic medium said what they said to her. That caused, in my opinion, and I didn't know either of them at that point, that caused the relationship to break down. And that's not to say that the relationship didn't have its problems. It did. But when when someone else sticks their nose in someone else's business like that, that's just bang out of order. 507. It's just bang out of order. It's not a done thing, you know. But like I say, some people get a kick out of ruining other people's lives or making their lives that little bit more miserable. Usually because they are karmic miserable fucks themselves, you know. Now, like I say, for me, this whole tapping into the divine and, you know, I don't disbelieve in God, but I don't believe in the same God that other people believe in. When they talk about God, it's like, I know God more as a creator, right? Not a deity that would come up with a book and then expect people to follow it. 607. Because that's just it. I mean, look at the way language has changed over the years. You know, did you know, on a side note, right? True story. The King James Bible has been changed. I think it's 7 times. They've changed the wording in it 7 times. And there are some passages that they changed so drastically that only the people that followed the, air quotes, old school version of the King James Bible realised once they picked up the updated versions and realised the differences. Now, that wasn't exactly mainstream news media. Now, it wouldn't be, because, you know, religion is something that they've been trying to throw out the window. You know, this is why we've got so much degeneracy in our society. You see, much as I'm not exactly opposed to religion, I do understand that it was done for a purpose. And like I was saying in yesterday's video about the ramblings, and whereas, as always, government and the church got together in order to, I suppose, effectively kidnap young Native American children from their families, to put them into boarding schools, to indoctrinate them with, I suppose, Christian beliefs. Why? Well, several reasons. First one is, if you want to destroy a culture, that's how you do it. You target the weak first, in this case the weak-minded, those that are easier to manipulate, in this case children. You know, why do you think you tell a kid that the tooth fairy is real, Santa Claus is real, all these things, and the kids will believe it for years. For years they will believe that. So it's no different when it comes down to religion, and it doesn't matter what the religion is. You know, take your pick, it's all the same. But then, like I say, when you've got something that is or does have the potential for authoritarianism, totalitarianism, and in some cases downright tyranny, well, then they will use any tactics they see fit to use in order to get the masses to comply. These days, because of the, not necessarily the destruction of religion in terms of Christianism, Christendom, whatever you call it, you know, these days it's that little square screen that sits usually in the corner of the room and booms out the, air quotes, news to you guys, telling you what you should and shouldn't do, telling you what they want you to hear. They could argue, well, you're sounding a little bit sort of like paranoid. Let's just see what we dropped out, shall we? First one I dropped out. Yes, people, it is most definitely time to collaborate. You see, we need to work together. The people need to work together. You see, even TV companies over here, one of the big ones, which I won't use their abbreviated initials, but you know which one it is. You know, their misprinted figures that they gave out during 2020 and 2021, that got swept under the rug. They got called out for it, but it got swept under the rug. What were the other parts? Let's have a look. So you got reclaim your power. Yeah, this is it. Time to collaborate, reclaim your power. And I think this one's a warning from Parrot Spirit. Watch your words. Funny that, how I use the abbreviations and that come out. Freedom is yours. The abundant universe will provide. And that's Buffalo Spirit. And the other one was Horse Spirit. It's quite funny, on a side note. When I got these, it's almost like I knew them already. Brilliant. But anyway, so now people seem to be bowing down to that little box in the corner that tells us what we want to hear, or at least what they want us to hear and believe, for that matter. And a lot of the time we seem to go with it for some unknown reason. Well, I suppose for the most part, if you use fear tactics, another art of manipulation, if you use fear tactics on any country, or better yet, if you can use it on all countries, you know, if it's the art of war, is being able to win without even firing a shot. It's not to defeat your enemy, it's just to get them to comply. Think about it. How much easier is that? Rather than having to use brute force and potential for violence, and, you know, with that you're going to get resistance and all of that. But if you can inflict enough fear into people, whereas all they have to do is just agree and do as they're told, you've won. And that's exactly what they did in 2020 and 2021. And it amazes me, even now, the amount of people, I'll refer to them as normies, that even now are still blissfully unaware about all these big pharma companies that have admitted things on the sideline. But we haven't heard a peep from mainstream media. You know, the Secrecies Act, just as a side note, you know, every 50 years they have to reveal, or they don't have to, but they can reveal stuff that was initially kept secret at the time. Now, 50 years is a long time for a couple of generations to die out, especially if you've been putting stuff in them that makes them not going to last. You know, you've heard of this whole sudden death syndrome. Yeah, funny that. We never had these things, did we, prior to 2020 and 2021? I mean, sure, every now and then you'd get like an athlete who'd randomly have a heart attack on a football pitch, but it wasn't that, common. It wasn't that common a thing. But still, bring your ideas to life. Electric Eel Spirit. Thank you, Electric Eel. But yeah, this is just it, you know. Sometimes it does take really just looking beyond what is in front of you, reading between the lines, you know, realising that even for some people that have been following a book such as the King James Bible has been changed. I think it's either 7 or 11 times, I can't remember. 11 keeps coming back into my head for some reason, so it might even be 11. Well, it might even be King James VII has been changed 11 times. Open to correction. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know, because I don't. But yeah, and again, when you think of how the Native Americans, how their teachings were passed down, they didn't use books. They did things like literally. They learned by doing things, hands-on, by sitting down and watching and listening. You know, there wasn't any of this sitting down in a classroom business. You know, they were part of it. And it's funny because at the same time as I say that, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's no bloody wonder there's so many kids out there that are getting labelled as having ADHD. And look, sometimes it might be a thing, I get that, right? I'm not going to be ignorant to it. Or even just ADD for that matter. When in reality, they're just young lads being young lads, just being boys. We are boisterous by nature, we are competitive by nature, it's what we do. But to then have a society that tells us that there's something wrong with us because we do what we do, because it's, I suppose, different to, I suppose, feminine energy, they get called toxic, they get told that there's something wrong with them. And so the big pharmaceutical companies end up coming up with drugs to feed these kids, whilst they get told that they've got something wrong with them. Again, another way of controlling a population. Tell them from young that they're worthless, they're useless, and they're here to provide a service almost that of slavery, in some cases, to the opposite sex. And then we sit back and wonder why our society has got so many problems. It's like, really? It really doesn't take a genius to figure it out, does it? And it's sad. Cow spirit, the miracles are endless. Excellent. I'm not sure I like that one actually. Moth spirit. Surrender now. That's what they want you to do. Surrender, give up your rights. So they can win without even a fight. That's what they want to do. And most people don't even see it, that's the thing. They won't even acknowledge it as being a problem. They'll just sit back and accept it. Because the same politicians that were having parties whilst telling everyone else to stay at home told them to. Think about that. And I know it's something I keep bringing it up, and you know what? I will keep bringing it up until it goes through your skull. The politicians that were having parties, going out, playing golf, getting their hair done, getting their nails done, visiting their friends and family. In fact, one of the British health advisors was even banging his mistress whilst telling everyone else to stay at home. Really? And you guys want to take advice from these people and listen to them? Well, you can do, but don't complain when they end up herding you like cattle, which is what they intend on doing, by the way. I'm just saying, they've already done it once. You know, a lot of people fell for it. Some people fell for it more than once. And it's all because, for the most part, they've got people's minds occupied with things like stupidities on TikTok, because it makes people laugh. It keeps the baby brain active and not the philosophical, and the actual thinking brain active. See, all the time they can keep you stupid, they can control you. But as soon as you start independent thinking, you break away from that hive mind and you see things for what they are, then you become a problem to them, you see. And I won't lie, it is a lonely path, because you realise that a lot of the time you are surrounded by people, even when you stand there and tell them the different reasons as to why they should or shouldn't listen to such and such or do this, that or the other. You know, some aren't going to change their mind on it. It is what it is. Some will have to experience a bit of, I suppose, humble pie or something like that before they realise that maybe you were right. And look, it's not about being told that you were right. But sometimes it really does make you feel a bit alienated. I won't lie. I guess it kind of is what it is, man. But this is just it. I can't even tell you what the ultimate aim is either. I don't know what their plan is. I think it's just control. I suppose that saying of you will own nothing, you will have nothing, and you will be happy. That's after giving us the opportunity to have everything. Seems ironic, doesn't it? Anyway, I'll wrap it up with a bit of a squirrel spirit. Believe in yourself. Well, we can do that. And transformation is beautiful with a bit of butterfly spirit. One more, just for good luck. Flamingo spirit, embrace the in-between. Guys, thank you for listening, much appreciated. Thoughts, comments and opinions, feel free to jot them down. As always, to the next one, stay cool, stay free. Peace out.